The ocean today is dangerous, yes. Sharks, giant squid, the occasional fish that looks like it owes someone money. But 270 million years ago, the ocean wasn't just dangerous, it was experimental. This was the era when evolution didn't follow a plan. It just threw biology at the wall to see what wouldn't die immediately. This was when nature built fish with plated armor, when it gave sharks jaw configurations no modern creature would pass through quality control, when squid had shells. And in the middle of all this early improvisation, something emerged that looked like evolution had tried to design a predator while half asleep. A creature as long as a modern great white, lean, fast, efficient, and armed not with rows of teeth but with a spiral of teeth tucked inside its lower jaw. This was Helicoprion, a predator so confusing that for most of the last century, scientists could not agree where its mouth even was. That is how fundamentally wrong this thing looked. But before we go further, if you enjoyed learning about ocean creatures that look like they were designed by a committee that actively dislikes swimmers, you should probably like and subscribe. All right, into the water we go. Helicoprion was not small. It reached lengths of at least 20 feet, possibly more depending on the specimen. It wasn't bulky like a great white, which is basically a muscular torpedo fueled by rage and calories. Helicoprion was long and streamlined, shaped for glide and acceleration, built to move cleanly through open water. Its skeleton was made of cartilage, not bone, which means most of its body did not fossilize. The only reason we know it existed at all is because one part of it refused to decay, refused to erode, refused to vanish. The tooth spiral, the tooth whorl, a curling arc of teeth that grew continuously throughout its life. New teeth formed at the outer edge. Older ones were pushed inward, forming a coil. Imagine a conveyor curve of triangular blades, each sharpened by use, layered in sequence, all positioned so that when the lower jaw closed, the entire structure would guide prey deeper toward the throat. Not a saw, not a spinning wheel, no dramatic rotation, just a perfectly angled chute of teeth that pulled. Helicoprion didn't bite chunks off prey. It didn't tear flesh outward, it tightened the jaw, and the spiral guided the soft body of its prey inward in a continuous cutting motion. This creature didn't feed the way sharks do now, it processed, and it was frighteningly efficient. But to understand why, you have to understand its prey. Helicoprion lived in a world dominated by soft-bodied cephalopods. Early squid-like animals with no armor, slow reflexes, and the oceanic survival strategy of float and hope nothing finds you. And most predators of the time had to crush shells or break plated defenses. That required power, force, repeated strikes, wrestling. Helicoprion didn't do any of that. It didn't chase prey for long distances. It didn't fight. It didn't need to. It approached smoothly, jaws closed, body quiet, leaving no visual fanfare. It didn't lunge. It didn't snap. It simply drew close enough that when it opened its mouth and closed its lower jaw, the spiral did the rest. No thrashing, no violence, no wasted motion. One motion, inward pull. Life ends in silence. Other predators broadcast their intentions. Helicoprion did not. It was the underwater equivalent of a quiet removal. But the thing that makes Helicoprion truly fascinating is not the jaw itself. It's that the jaw worked only because its prey allowed it to. Helicoprion thrived because the ocean was full of soft-bodied cephalopods, creatures without armor, without speed, without strategy. It was a buffet of drifting shapes, slow-moving meals suspended in open water, each one a perfect fit for the spiral jaw's inward pull. But prey does not simply accept its place in the food chain. It adapts, not intentionally, not thoughtfully, just relentlessly. Generation after generation, the cephalopods that survived Helicoprion were the ones that could escape even a little bit faster or react just a fraction of a second sooner. And so, over time, their bodies changed. First came faster muscles, then came better eyes, then came camouflage. And then, fatally for Helicoprion, came the beak. The beak was not large, it was not heavy. It did not look impressive from the outside, but it was sharp, and more importantly, it was internal. Helicoprion's entire feeding method relied on pulling prey inward, deeper, closer. The spiral guided the body into the throat, each tooth applying pressure, directing movement. And that was exactly where the beak was waiting, a cutting tool hidden inside the prey's mouth. Silent, passive, but lethal the moment a predator's jaw closed around it. The first time a Helicoprion encountered a cephalopod with a fully developed beak, the hunt probably went exactly as usual. Approach, close distance, jaw lowers, spiral engages. Then a flash of movement, small, internal, invisible until it happened. Not a defensive strike to the outside of the face, not a struggle. A strike inside where Helicoprion had no armor, no padding, no evolutionary expectation of danger. Because predators are not built to defend against their food. That is the moment everything changed. Helicoprion was not designed to retreat mid-feeding. Its jaw didn't open wider to shake food free. Its spiral did not reverse direction. The feeding mechanism was one way. Once the prey was inside, it was going deeper. But now deeper meant being cut from the inside. This is the kind of evolutionary trap that doesn't kill a species immediately. It kills them slowly. So it starts with hesitation. A hesitation to pursue certain prey, a hesitation to feed where risk is uncertain, a hesitation that costs energy, recovery time, and eventually, survival. Meanwhile, the cephalopods kept improving. They refined their propulsion. They developed ink as a smokescreen for escape. They became agile in ways Helicoprion could never match. The hunter stayed the same. The hunted advanced. And nature always sides with movement. Helicoprion was not outcompeted by a newer predator. It was outcompeted by its own food. There's a quiet kind of tragedy to that. Not defeat by force, not defeat by catastrophe, but defeat by time. The spiral jaw did not break. It did not fail. It simply stopped being enough. And that is the most dangerous kind of extinction. The kind you can't see happening until it's already too late. While this predator-prey arms race was unfolding underwater, the planet itself was changing. Land masses were moving. Tectonic plates were forcing continents into collision. The ocean currents shifted. Water temperatures fluctuated. The chemical composition of the sea changed. And all of these subtle changes affected where nutrients gathered and where they didn't. Some parts of the ocean became more oxygen poor. Some ecosystems collapsed. Others blossomed. Life is never evenly distributed. Sometimes survival is simply being in the right water at the right time. Helicoprion could not chase environments the way generalist species could. It needed its prey. It needed a specific habitat range. It needed the world to stay within certain parameters. The world did not. It never does. But even then, Helicoprion did not vanish all at once. It lingered, reduced in number, reduced in territory, reduced in significance. There is a word for this stage in an apex predator's life cycle, ghost phase, not extinct, but no longer influential, a relic drifting through a world that has already moved on, a creature built perfectly for a past that no longer exists. Imagine a Helicoprion gliding through gray, empty water, no shoals of soft cephalopods, no effortless hunts, no effortless anything, just endurance, instinct, momentum. A machine designed for a task the world no longer requires. There is no drama in that ending. No heroics, no final struggle, just silence. The ocean does not mourn. The ocean replaces. Time erases soft creatures. It dissolves cartilage. It grinds bodies into sediment. Helicoprion's entire skeleton should have disappeared, and most of it did. But the whirl remained. The spiral of teeth, layered and curved, was made of material dense enough to endure. It fossilized while everything else did not. So when paleontologists first found it, they did not know what they were looking at. A spiral of teeth alone offers no instructions. Some believed it belonged on the snout. Others thought it was part of the tail. Some placed it along the spine. One researcher suggested it was a defensive weapon. For over a century, the spiral jaw sat in museum drawers and scholarly debates, waiting for someone to understand it. It wasn't until modern imaging, CT scanning, and 3D reconstruction that scientists finally confirmed its placement inside the lower jaw, coiled like a tightened spring. A weapon hidden until the final moment. A secret sealed in cartilage, revealed only after the creature had already disappeared. The predator died, the weapon remained, a memory without a body. A function without a host, a message without context, which is why the fossil hits so hard. It is not just a structure, it is a symbol, something that once worked perfectly, right up until the moment it didn't. To understand why the spiral feels wrong to us, you don't need a degree in paleontology. You don't need fossil diagrams or museum specimens, you only need your instincts. Because your brain is very old, much older than your memories. Much older than your language, much older than your sense of logic. There are parts of you shaped by oceans you've never seen, by predators you've never met, by dangers you do not remember, but your body does. We like to think fear is learned, but some fear is inherited, not taught, not explained, just passed down quietly, cell to cell to cell. The fear of being swallowed whole, the fear of deep water, the fear of what moves in the dark where light cannot follow. These fears are not irrational. They are ancestral memory. So when you see the spiral jaw, something happens in the body before the mind has time to form thoughts. A tightening in the ribs, a shortness of breath, a subtle dread that has no name. Your brain recognizes this. This is a predator that does not warn you. This is a predator that does not give you time. This is a predator you cannot bargain with. This is danger that happens from the inside, and humans are not built to understand that. We expect claws, we expect teeth, we expect danger to announce itself. Helicoprion did not, and that is why the fossil feels like an omen, not a relic, not a curiosity, a warning carved into deep time. The spiral teaches something that evolution rarely states so clearly. Perfection is fragile, specialization is a trap, and the world will not stay the same for you. Helicoprion was not weak. It was not flawed. It was not unlucky. It was perfect for a world that no longer exists. And the moment the world changed, that perfection became a cage. The very trait that made Helicoprion dominant made it unable to adapt. The spiral jaw did not allow flexibility. It allowed only one kind of feeding, one kind of life, one ecological strategy, and the ocean changed its terms. The prey that once surrendered became prey that could resist, that could flee, that could cut back. The hunter did not adjust, could not adjust. And so the hunter faded. No rage, no struggle, no final battle. Just a species that slowly lost its place in the world until the world no longer remembered it. Except for the spiral. The spiral remembers. It remembers the centuries of quiet success, the millions of hunts, the equilibrium that held until it didn't. It remembers a time when efficiency was enough, and it remembers what comes after efficiency fails. Evolution is not sentimental. It does not preserve greatness. It does not care how elegant, how successful, how dominant something once was. It only cares about now. The spiral is what remains when greatness is not enough. A coil of teeth turned inward. A design that trusted the world to stay the same. A structure that served perfectly until the environment it depended on evolved away. There is a lesson in that if you want one. All dominance is temporary. All mastery expires. All predators eventually answer to change. The ocean has erased many apex species. It will erase many more. Even now, as we stand on land and call ourselves intelligent, advanced, untouchable, the ocean waits, quiet, patient, certain that time will bend everything back to silence. We like to imagine we are separate from the creatures that came before us, but we are not. We are built from the same rules. We are shaped by the same pressures. We are caught in the same game. Adapt or disappear. Think about that the next time you look at the fossil spiral, not as a curiosity, not as a puzzle, not as a window into a world long gone, but as a message from the deep, a message with teeth. The predator is gone, the spiral remains, and the ocean remembers. It always remembers.